Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host Superman in the house for another epic crypto coverage. We're going to have a lot of fun here today. We've got obviously the crypto leaders that are going to be outstanding in the bull market, going to lead us, drag us in there into massive gains after, of course, this current conflict is all said and done. So very excited about where this is going to be heading. We've got Michael Saylor for Strategy Digital Asset Treasury, or DAT. We got Tom Lee for Ethereum with a Bitmine immersion. These two obviously are going to drag a ton of capital from the private credit markets and from finance. It is going to be a complete game changer and arguably a new form of monetary system evolving on the blockchain that these two guys are leading. They are bringing all that capital in from the equity and finance markets, hundreds of trillions of dollars potentially flowing into the blockchain, particularly Ethereum and Bitcoin benefiting the most. It's going to be truly outstanding. Now, obviously, we've got Richard Hart as well on Pulse Chain, seeking for glory, also sitting as one of the largest Ethereum holders, and of course has probably got his own very large personal stash of Bitcoin and Ethereum himself, being an early Bitcoin miner from the OG times back in March 2011. We know how how much ETH some of those holders, Bitcoin, those holders have as well. So it's going to be exciting to see it. We remember the AA lobby as well for Hex. There's lots of different financial backings that's going to have, and of course that's going to flow up in value from what Tom Lee and Michael Saylor do, which is going to be pretty exciting. So that's all upstream. We also know Richard Hart has multiple things he can do in terms of chess moves around software and new protocols, potentially sacrifice programs, stable coins, wallets, all sorts of things like that, which is pretty exciting as well. So we're going to have Richard Hart leading Pulse Chain into glory as well. Buying the bottom right now could be the ultimate, but where is the bottom? That's the question. Is the bottom in a week? Is it in 2 weeks? We're going to look at that question a little bit too. And of course, picking up massive volumes at the bottom, that's what you do. You buy low and you sell high, right? That's the key. So we're going to be looking for that. Will Pulse Chain get its mega reversal? Well, that's what Richard Hart would be. So if you're in the Richard Hart camp, then he's trying to set the bottom and push us up into glory and eventually. So if you're managing to hold on and if you're picking up volumes at this level, you could be well rewarded. Now, that's the risk you take. That's the assumption and presumption you have to make, but that's kind of where we're heading here. Now, obviously, anything on this channel is not financial advice. You must do your own due diligence, but I hope you enjoy the commentary as well. All right, if you haven't subscribed, smash the subscribe button on YouTube. We're streaming on 3 YouTube channels, The Crypto Night Show, Superman Crypto, and Pulse Chain X. Just take a moment to hit that now. Smash the subscribe button. Hit the bell for future videos as well. We are the largest daily Pulse Chain channel covering crypto and Pulse Chain. So definitely well worth getting in on that. And of course, we also do professional promotions on Pulse Chain because it was a big missing part of Pulse Chain. So if you want to get in touch with us, you're a team, you're building a great app, you want to get your name out there, then definitely hit up myself or our promotional lead, MVS Crypto. Of course, we also do the Monster Thread publication, the #1 newsletter on Pulse Chain, reaching 35 to 50,000 people per week, and that's in a bear market. So it is fantastic. So and we always excited. We're here every day, and we thought, why not help the projects? Why not help the community covering what we love the most anyway? So it's kind of a win-win there. All right, so let's get into it without further ado, and let's kick it into gear. Now, if you haven't joined Strategy Club, we're going to talk about that later on as well. But let's actually get into the crypto markets. We're going to look at the crypto majors, where they're at right now. Obviously, we've got the Iran conflict on. So let's talk about that and get into gear here first. So at the moment, we've got the total market cap. Let's do a refresh here on CoinGecko of a 2.37 trillion, a very tiny market in terms of the world markets. Obviously, some markets are in the hundreds of trillions. Money market, equity markets, etc., all add up to pretty big numbers. And so even to get to, gold, the stock market, excluding the Mag 7, you're talking about, a 20x from here. So there's big chances for upsides here. And, if we can get to 40 trillion market cap for crypto, that'd be pretty amazing. But of course, we have Michael Saylor and others talking about in this cycle bull market potentially 100, 200 trillion. So that's pretty massive. How would that happen? Well, we're going to look at a little bit how that might occur during the video. Now, total at the moment, obviously, for Bitcoin is 66,354. We have been following the power law pretty well as well, so that's generally considered the best model for Bitcoin. But of course, we've got a special event on right now with the Iranian conflict, and particularly perhaps less the actual war itself, but actually the Strait of Hormuz and the oil flows, right? That is kind of the bigger point there. The US is definitely moving to try and take over control of that. We saw Trump yesterday talking about the Strait of Trump. He likes a bit of humor there, and he loves to goad the enemies, as it were, particularly in the US with the Democrats. They hate that. Yeah, that's where we're heading right now. We do see the left movement trying to make moves. We've got big leftist backers of about $3 billion incomes sponsoring a lot of these No Kings protests that we're seeing around the world at the moment. That's all driven by communists and Marxists. You go have a look at their parades. They got all these communist flags, the sticker and everything else. It is hilarious. These guys are just so obvious. It's just ridiculous. But of course, the mainstream media, which is also part of that leftist nightmare, that globalist Marxist alliance, it loves it. They use it and exaggerate it, right? So that's kind of the play. They never ask any questions about why they all look the same and the money and everything. But that's the case going on right now. So yeah, we've got some fun things happening on the back of this war as well. Obviously, looking to get. What happened there during the? We had a little flash there with the old power. Hopefully, the stream's running okay. Let me make sure what happened here. We've lost the stream. Let me just refresh here. Unfortunately, had a little power spike. So let me just redo that. All right, looks like we did have a power cut, so hopefully everything's running well. I'm going to have to double check, of course, so let me do that as well. But I just had a power spike, just one of those, and down it went. So let me just check the YouTube show there, just to give me a moment to do that. Sorry for that interruption there. Just that was a bit weird with the old power spike there. Let's see if I'm feeding through all right. Let me just wait for all this to flow through. We interrupt this message. The Iranians have spiked our broadcast. Maybe something like that's happened. The Iranians have spiked our broadcast. Just the way it goes. All right, so let me just check the. I'm just trying to check this stuff at the moment. Just give me a moment to make sure everything's up and running. If you're in the comments here, let us know if the feed is still running fine. I just had a bit of a power switch, just one. It was like a little split second, and everything spiked, and then it went back to normal. But then I lost a few things. So let's see how we're going here. Oh my god, 3 ads in a row. That's crazy. All right, that seems to be fine there. But let me just quickly check the X account, make sure it's streaming fine there too. We interrupt this broadcast to check our technicals. Let's see there. All right, so that all seems fine. So we're back to normal. There we go. That was easy enough. All right, so let's continue on here. So we've got Bitcoin at the moment, $66,354. It is at towards the bottom end of the power curve. Power curve around about 60K with some power law floors at about 53K if we decide to go down there. So we've got Ethereum there at the moment at 1992. It's actually up 0.1%. I've found Ethereum to be quite robust, have you not? So we hit that about $1,750 on the last low. That was kind of the Tom DeMark low, and of course Tom DeMark there, one of the world's great timing, I guess gurus. So we're holding up pretty well on Ethereum, I think, and we're going to talk about potentially some of the reasons for that. Excuse me. BNB is up down 0.3% at $610. XRP up 0.4%, $1.33. Number 7 is Solana, down 1%, $82. Tron is up 1.9% at 31.6 cents. We've got Figure Helic at $1.02, down 1.2%. And finally, Doja is actually up green percent at 9 cents. Now remember, the stock market's closed obviously, but the crypto market is running 24/7, which is pretty exciting. But it won't be long for the stock market to be running 24/7 because it's going to get tokenized over on the blockchain. We already see that with the Nasdaq and the X stocks that they're currently doing. Those are currently, I think, on Kraken, but are going to be pretty much everywhere on all heaps of platforms. So traditional markets are coming to the blockchain. So we're going to have exciting there. You can also trade certain things through Hyperliquid and other platforms as well. We got that's at the market. So the best performer at the moment is Tron at 1.9%, but Ethereum is kind of green at the moment on 24 hours. Let's go to the best performer in the last week is Figure Helic up 1.9%, Tron 1.4%. Top performer in the top 100 at the moment is Siren. Man, what volatility is Siren going through? It looks like heavily manipulated, doesn't it? Up 54% for the week, 54% today. It was down about 50% yesterday. So zigzag. Mean Core up 31% right now at number 2. Midnight is up 16%. BitTensor Town 15% there, and Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance is up 5.9%. So there we go. There is some good gainers for the week, and Siren there up again today, 54%. But how volatile is Siren? Pretty crazy. Top of gainers in the top 1,000, we've got Doge Strategy, Noon, and Siren. Doge Strategy there up millions of percent apparently. That would be pretty interesting to look at that, although the charts always look a bit weird. Doge Strategy there, Siren, and BitTensor Town are trending. Let's have a quick look at Doge Strategy, just because it's gone some crazy chart. There we go, up apparently. What's that? Up from 4093 to, 29 cents. So there we go, on Ethereum apparently. So yeah, I haven't looked at any of that, but you can definitely check it out, see what's going on there. And Siren, of course, was having some pretty crazy up and down volatility. Let's have a look there as well. Oh, I've lost the stream again. I'm not sure what's happening there. Let me refresh one more time. And a few, probably, spikes in the power here at the moment. All right, looks like we're back again, but boy, we're having some real issues there. I apologize for the technical. Looks like the internet is just having a few spikes there. I am feeding internet through the satellite, so that's probably why I may be having some issues there on that. So there we go. All right, so let's just double check that I'm still streaming again without talking for half an hour and then realizing it's still not on, but we'll get there. So that's 2 spikes now we've had. And let's see how we're going there. All right, looks like we're fine. Hopefully we'll have no more spikes. That's 2 spikes, 3 spikes. So we can get 3 spikes. I don't know. Anyway, so this is Siren at the moment. You can see it's up and down. Looks heavily manipulated, does it not? And that's pretty crazy chart there. Pretty crazy indeed. That's on the old BNB chain there. Some unusual stuff there. Siren Perpetual Markets live on MECX there. Some news. All right, so that is pretty much the crypto markets. So 2.37 trillion right now. Let's zoom in on Bitcoin, and let's go and talk about Michael Saylor and that. So this Bitcoin right now, 66,385 on Coin. I think we're on Coinbase, is it? Yeah, Coinbase. And we got the 50-day moving average up here at 71,379. So we're quite a bit under that at the moment, about $4,000, $5,000, yeah, $5,000 below the 50-day. We're back in the channel again, so we're kind of in this in the zone here. We had the all-time low back here on the 6th of February at well, not all-time low, sorry, my bad. The local low in this range at 60,000. That was kind of towards the bottom of the power law, and of course, we may have a floor price that potentially was 53,000. So we're not really expecting to go below any of those numbers because of the power law. But of course, when we have a special event, anything is possible, right? Anything is possible. But I really will find it hard to see us going below that, given the fact that the United States is looking to clean up that Strait there with a couple actions over the next week or two. So we'll keep watching that. They are definitely doing things with speedboats, robot. Oh, not on again. A third spike, guys. A third spike. I'm really not sure what's happening with the with that. All right, we're back again. Sorry, guys. I just don't know. We've got having some spikes at the old power or broadband or something like that. But yeah, sorry. I do apologize. 3 times. I said we're probably gonna have 3 times. Hopefully, it will disappear later today because I don't want that happening all day. So here we are, 66,445. Let's jump over into the leadership here. So we've got Michael Saylor. This was earlier today, but he says it's time to put the laser eyes back on BTC. So there we go. He's got the laser eyes back on. 600,000 views on that. And I remember last time he had the laser eyes, Bitcoin went on for a big rally, and we had lots of cool things happen. We had ETF flows, we had institutional and retail flows, and of course we got a big rally in Bitcoin all the way up to 126k. So he's put the laser eyes back on. Now obviously he's leading the way there with vampiring the credit market into Bitcoin value, and so he's been using the stretch product on that. So that's a super bullish. And this is a big deal, potentially, tapping hundreds of $1 trillion markets there as well. And that's going to take time to ramp up, but we're expecting it to be pretty aggressive. And so he's got the laser eyes there. So, lots of comments there from community, even people from our own community in there. Maybe it's probably just presenting me people in our community that are at the top. But we got lots of cool things there. It looks like Richard Hart there with the laser eyes. So people pretty excited about that. Now we do know, obviously, what do we know? Obviously here on Strategy, we know that he has got the stretch product, these preferred stock products offering yields. We know that stretch product here is back at $99.91. It has been moving down, obviously, with the market sell-off on Friday, but this is expected to, it did tap $1 for a little while, and we did end up minting new stretch shares over $100, right? That's when over it's $100, they issue new shares, they raise capital, and they buy Bitcoin with that, right? And this is based on the preferred stock, not the common stock of Strategy. Here's the Strategy common stock, $126. But here is the stretch product, and of course they raise capital that way, which is pretty awesome. They've got other products like Stride and Strike, Strife, and they're going to probably have new products in the future, no doubt. They keep evolving here, but Stretch definitely seems like one of the game changers for sure, along with the a couple of other products that are not on here. So kind of cool. Let's jump over to Stretch. So just to give you an idea of how powerful this has been. This is what a record of a day of 7.5 million shares of Stretch looks like. March 12th was the biggest ATM so ATM means not ATM machine, but at the market a day. So they issue shares and raise capital over the $100 par value for the Stretch. The machine started at 4 a.m. pre-market, ran across all 3 sessions, 587 minutes of trading data. The orange bars, each one is a single minute of shares pouring through the ATM above $100. The peak minute moved 332 shares. The price line at the top barely moves, just hovering at par while millions of shares flow underneath it. This was a day 7 of a streak that kept building. 1.5 million, 1.3, 2.7, 3.2 million, 4.4, 4.6, 7.5 million. And of course, this was the last time it was really printing on the ATM for the Stretch there and buying Bitcoin. For 25 million shares in 7 days. The next morning, the ex-dividend hit and the ATM went quiet. 9 days later, Stretch recovered to par. April's ex-dividend is next. So we obviously got the price. We did have a price where it was over $1 slightly for a period of time. It is currently only 9 cents below, but it's probably going to, a good chance it may recover on Monday, depending on how the markets go. But we are expecting fairly bullishness all the way through to the 14th of April. We could have that printer going on during the week, weekdays. So pretty exciting there. 9 days later, Stretch recovered to par. April's ex-dividend is next. Will April break the record? And of course, that's all buying Bitcoin, structurally buying Bitcoin, capital raising from the private market, money market, credit markets, right? So exciting there. And you can see on this chart all those Bitcoin, all those share raises and essentially Bitcoin buys that are going on there. So just tons of stuff going on there when the price is over $100. So exciting times there, right? Look at that. Proceeds, $300 million over that 7-day period. So ended up being something like $1.1 billion raised through Stretch for the buying of Bitcoin, which was pretty exciting. And then they issued a few Mr. Common shares and ended up buying 23,000 Bitcoin, I should say. And the prior week they bought 18,000. So that combination of common stock and Stretch preferred stock ended up buying a whole ton of Bitcoin. What's that, 40,000 plus Bitcoin in 2 weeks. What will it do in the future? Because we're expecting it to increase once we get a bit more stabilization in the market, and that vampiring of the finance market through yield differentials is going to be massive. So we're going to watch that. Still early days, guys, but we could see some pretty exciting stuff this week. So keep a look out for this week for the Stretch product. That will also help put a structural buying into the Bitcoin price. And it's going to make it, help keep it up rather than down. So we'll keep watching that out as well. All right, so exciting stuff there. That's some of the leadership from Michael Saylor. He's put the electric eyes on, and let's keep a lookout for what else he might have in store for us as we move forward. All right, that brings us into Ethereum. Ethereum right now at $1,995. It's just sitting around that 2,000 mark. We have the 50-day at $2,168. So we're about $170 below that right now. The 200-day is at $2,750, and likewise we're looking pretty similar to Bitcoin back in the middle of this zone, with the recent low back on the February the 6th at 1742. Now, is that the low for the bear market? That's what we're looking forward to there. But of course, some people go for the 70% drawdown. That would mean technically really pushing towards the bottom of the power law there. So we'll see how we're going. But we've got the structural buying coming in from the DATs, and that potentially could help keep us up. So that's kind of what we're seeing, what will balance out there. Certainly we're still in the zone where we could move down another level, and we've certainly got the catalyst for it. But like I say, I think they're going to start fixing up that Strait of Hormuz issue there. So that will probably take a couple of weeks to do the lockdown. So we'll watch that as well. The Secretary of State, Rubio, has talked about a couple of weeks, several weeks to go, kind of not months, but weeks to achieve their objectives. And I guess part of that will be locking down the Strait of Hormuz there. They may end up taking some of the islands that have 90% of the cash flow, the money, but also they've got a lot of tactical assets now in play, taking out the small boats. The Iranians had a strategy of several thousands of small attack boats, but now they didn't really. They got that off a war game that the United States played. And they had to shut down the war game because of the small boat strategy blowing up, a certain amount of ships. But of course, the Americans have neutralized that. Let me refresh here. So I've got to refresh again. Sorry about that. That's 4 times now we've been spiked. Oh, 5 times being spiked.